What's up, guys? We are back with another Mythic Legions review, taking a look at a relatively interesting and different figure when it comes to the creation of the line in general. So we're taking a look today at Deltigar the Destroyer. This guy is entirely unique in terms of what he represents because he is a specific Kickstarter backer reward figure. So one of the levels, the ultimate top tier level of rewards in the Kickstarter, was to have yourself made into a Mythic Legions figure for the cool price of $10,000. 10,000 US dollars, that's right, that's not a mistake. And somebody bought in, and he got himself made into a Legions figure. So his likeness, the color scheme he got to pick, the weaponry, the bio, the name is based off of his actual name. And yeah, he got the figure made, and I think he got a bunch of them as well. So this guy is very unique, very specific in terms of the overall Mythic Legions mythology, I suppose. But we are going to crack this guy open and take a look, but of course we have to take a look at packaging first because, well, he's not out yet. So we've got him here in our standard box. We've got the collector-friendly bubble, and you can see him there in the window. We've got a bio for this guy on the side, and then the back of the package has the older style artwork with the 1.0 lineup of figures as well as a write-up of Mythos. So let's do it. Let's pull this guy out and take a look. And here he is out of the package, our Deltigar figure. This is one that, frankly, there's a lot of stuff here that I really like. A lot of that really comes down to the color scheme, parts choices. There's one thing on this figure in particular that I'm really not all that fond of. We'll talk about it when we get there, but let's take a look at articulation real quick. This guy is, for all intents and purposes, the same thing we have seen a number of times at this point. He has a 1.0 style body. I've already put the pauldron on him because he only has the one. They're going for an asymmetrical design on this figure. I figured we might as well just keep it on since it very much completes the look. So to start with, you've got a head that goes up. You do have a moving headpiece there. We've got a head that goes down a little bit, bobble side to side, and then rotation. The pauldron does move, of course, to help with mobility. So you can get the arm out, and then of course you can rotate. You will have to move the pauldron to kind of accomplish that. You've got your rotating elbow with a hinge, you've got your rotating wrist, and then, or forearm rather, and then rotating and hinging wrist action. We've got our torso ball peg here, so swivel all the way around, backwards, forwards, bobble side to side. Legs go out, they kick forward and backward. Thigh cut, single jointed rotating knee, and then you've got your rocker and you've got your hinge down there at those ankles. So, you know, if you've seen a Mythic Legions figure anytime recently, or pretty much any time at all, you kind of know what to expect here. But he does have pretty good mobility for the line, and you can certainly get him into dynamic enough poses. Now, the overall design when it comes to this figure is, again, a lot of stuff that we've seen before. We've seen bare-chested human male figures, and I really do like the look. It's not all that common in this line, so it's nice to be able to get another figure that has that. So you've got the bare chest, and you've got a bare right arm, and then you've got an armored left arm, and then the rest of the figure is armored. So you do have a very asymmetrical design, which frankly I do really like. I'm a big fan of this look. I think it works really well, and it just adds a little something extra. Well, it takes away something, but it adds something in the process, because the lack of armor in certain places on this figure, I think, really does a justice to just the design, and it makes him stand out. Not to mention the fact that you've got this nice gold, green, and black mix, and there's not a lot of green stuff in Mythic Legion so far. Not tons anyways. It's certainly not this kind of green. So I do like this color here. It works really, really well, and I'm a big fan of these parts in general. A lot of these, you know, standard knight type of parts, but they work exceptionally well in this color scheme. So you've got all of the kind of filigree inlay stuff that's all over the arm and on the pauldron, and then of course it runs down all over the plating on the figure from the waist down, and it's the quality that you would expect to find. There's tons of paint detail, a lot of small intricate pieces of line work, and then there is a lot of shading all over that bare torso and the arm, and it just looks good. It's a really nice look for this figure. It's a really nice look in general. The design speaks to me, and the color choices absolutely do it for me. Where I kind of lose a little bit of interest is when we get up to this head sculpt, and that's a bit unfortunate. So like I mentioned, this guy is based off of a real person, someone that, you know, threw down a tremendous amount of money to have himself turned into a Mythic Legions figure, and the result is this head sculpt, and it's well done. It's up to that same Horsemen level of quality that you would expect. Nice sculpting, nice paintwork, good shading. The beard is nicely done. He's even got earrings on his ears there, which look pretty good. You can see both of them. He's got a removable crown here, which is nicely done, and of course it matches the same color scheme we've got going going for the rest of the figure. Personally, though, I just don't really like the face. I don't really like the head sculpt. And I feel kind of bad saying that because it's based on a real person, but it just doesn't look like it fits in this line to me. Something about it doesn't look right when it comes to thinking in the context of other figures. It almost looks like he's a little too smarmy, a little too happy for my taste. Thankfully, we do have an extra head sculpt, so, you know, not a knock against the source material, I guess, on this figure. I just don't think it works for me personally. I think it looks a little off in comparison to some of the more truly barbaric and, you know, fantastic type of head sculpts we've gotten so far. So it's nicely done, and of course it's well executed up to that Horseman level of quality. I, again, just don't really care for it. Now, as far as accessories goes, you can, of course, change this guy up a little bit, like I mentioned. So we've already got the pauldron on there, which we've already touched on briefly, and you've got an extra head sculpt. And I really, really like this head sculpt. I love this helmet design. I love the big comb. It's a very Roman, it's a very gladiatorial type of look, and a lot of paintwork in there. That same metallic green with the metallic gold accents. This is my head sculpt of choice, and I know that this is shared with a few other figures, but I don't think I actually have a figure with this head. Unless I'm just mistaken, because, I mean, I've got a lot at this point, but I don't have Romulus, and I don't have Pixis yet. I don't have him yet. I'll have him soon. But I don't have either of those, and they come with this head sculpt as well. So I think this is my first taste of this one, and frankly, I am a big fan of that head sculpt. So we've got that, and that's going to be my my head of choice when it comes to this guy. So we've got a few other things, of course. We've got the back adapters, you've got the strap on there, and then you've got a shield here, which does more of that gold and black color scheme, and it's got the runes in there. We've seen this a few times as well. We've got a handle on the back. We've got this large sword here, which is just silver and gold. We've seen this a few times as well, but this is a nice weapon. This is my weapon of choice for this guy as well. And then we've got the big gold warhammer with a little bit of green accents on some of the kind of baubles that are all around it. So a pretty solid, well-rounded amount of accessories for this guy. Extra head, pauldron, 3 weapons, and then all the other doodads that you always get. So he's pretty well stocked, and I think he's got enough to satisfy just about every Legion's collector. So overall, I'm a big fan of this figure, my disinterest in the standard head sculpt notwithstanding. I'm just not a big fan of that head sculpt. No offense to the model for that, but I do think this figure is really solid. It's got a great look. I absolutely dig the asymmetrical design with the unarmored arm, the bare chest, the one pauldron, and then that color scheme is just fantastic. It is a little bit different compared to a lot of other stuff in this line, so he will definitely stand out a bit more, and not to mention the fact that all of the paint is metallic for the most part, except for the black, of course, but it all stands out really well. Everything is nicely done, and it's just more that same good Legion's quality that you come to expect. And then we have that fantastic extra head sculpt, which again is going to be my head of choice, and it makes for a really menacing, well-rounded figure, all things said and done. So that's going to do it for this look at the Mythic Legion's Deltigar the Destroyer figure. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.